looks like everything is working. Nice. Well, what are we doing today? Today, we're gonna work on some Warmachine. Gas, something I've never painted on the channel before. Something I've never dealt with before. I was not into wargaming when Warmachine was like the big game replacing Games Workshop. So a lot of this stuff is like super new to me. But since I think it's Steam Forge Games bought them and picked them up, they've been doing a lot of really cool stuff. I've got some plastic kits out now. And super cool, they have a myminifactory. So I signed up for the first month, which is free right now, which is super dope. And you get a like starting welcome pack, I think they call them, of minis, and it's a bunch of these like abomination kind of guys who kind of look like steampunk kind of Hellraiser kind of stuff. So it's like a dude with another guy like growing out of his back, but he's also hooked on machines and stuff. And here's some kind of crazy surgeon guy with robo arms. Like, pretty cool stuff. Pretty neat minis. There's a bunch of like these kind of faceless abominations with like weapon arms and stuff. They're pretty darn cool. They printed up really nice. My bases might not have. There's definitely some errors on my bases, but that's fine. We can worry about those later. But the minis printed super great. They were really nicely pre-supported. And yeah, basically just like poop and fell right off the runners. No like crazy extra runners or anything like that. Yeah, really good. I have one print error, but I think it's from one of the runners pressing on one of the parts when it was building, and it's basically super hard to see unless I point it out to you. So this is one of the guys I started blocking in colors on last night. The print error is here. It's one of these tubes in the back. And yeah, it super hard to see unless I point it out. Like, you'd never notice it. But yeah, so I started blocking some of the colors of these guys. I think this is probably the guy I'll enter in the competition when he's done. Just because this model's got a little more presence to it than this one. But I wanted to do something besides just doing base colors. You know, base coats on the channel today. So I figured we would pull this guy out and do some washes. And then while it's drying, we could do some base coats. And then we could do some other bits on him. So his skin there is Kraken Lavender from Army Painter. The armor is Diabolic Plum and True Copper. And then there's some dark neutral gray from Pro Acryl mixed in there as well. The green color is Scorpy Green from Game Color. And the cloth color is Turquoise Siren. So this is a variant of the color scheme that I am doing for these guys, which are my Drukhari. And I'm going to be kind of honest, I kind of actually like this color scheme better. So this might be a situation where I'm going to repaint my Drukhari, which is fine, because honestly, painting this orange fucking sucks. It is a pain in the ass. I've had nothing but bad luck with orange paints lately. But yeah, so it's a variant on that color scheme, so that'd be kind of fun. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to throw some washes down first off. So I've got Dark Skin Shade from Army Painter. This is a purple brown like mixed wash. I love this wash because it's not like just pure purple or pure brown. It's like, I don't know, the wash is like a super dark almost like plum color, like right in this weird line between purple and brown, and I think it's just great. Whereas like a purple wash would probably be just pure purple, and a brown wash would be just too pure brown. This is like a really nice kind of mix. So, like most washes though, it can be a little strong when used right out of the bottle, so we're going to mix it with some wash medium. So I'm going to do 4-to-1 wash to wash medium. And basically I'm just going to slap this all over everything. And once that dries, we'll come back and do some further work on him. But just going to let it go ahead and get in there, fill in those recesses and everything. And then we will come back and do some further work. This guy I was painting last night at like midnight. He's kind of my my like test for the actual model I want to enter. He's like the dry run kinda, essentially, to be honest. He's a pretty dope mini though, and honestly their files are really nice. Like I'm surprised how nice the files are, because I know they were doing a bunch of 3D printing stuff before. I think it's Steamforged. Pretty sure it's Steamforged before they got bought out. I don't think the 3D printing stuff had really like taken off, right? Because personally I feel like the people that want to 3D print kind of aren't the people that want to buy miniatures, right? Like, but when you just make STLs, you run the risk of like your work leaking, and then people like sharing it, and you're not actually making the money you should make off of it, and all this kind of stuff, right? So there's this weird kind of small industry in the wargaming scene that's popping up. That's people that just 3D print miniatures. Like they'll design them and 3D print them and sell them to you, but they don't sell the STLs. And that's kind of a shame, because that kind of, I don't know, kind of takes the fun out of it, you know what I mean? There's a couple companies doing that right now, and there's some that sort of sell STLs and sort of don't. One of those being Modifius. But I mean, it's a weird space for miniature makers, so I can't fault any of them for trying to make their money, but also, like, you know, not every marketing scheme is gonna appeal to me, right? Like, you know, like something like Blackout I would probably actually try, or Steel Rift, but I don't like that they just 3D print miniatures for you. If they sold me the STLs, I would be okay with it, but I don't like that they just 3D print. These guys still have some 3D printing, but a bunch of their stuff's actually moving to plastic, which is really, really dope. Big fan of that, so. Even though, like I said, their actual 3D print models are fucking great. So I've just got a little bit of water in my brush. I'm just going to go back and pull off some of the, like, kind of raised areas and pull some of that wash off. I'll zoom in a little for you. And just pull some of the surface of the wash off some of those raised areas. Specifically, like, I think on the skin will look really good. yeah, keep a little water on your brush, so it will help pull the wash off. See, like his calf here? That's just got too much, right? And what we'll probably end up doing is actually probably coming back and doing a little bit of like volumetric painting on these areas as well, with some thin down paint. But as I turned his butt, I have to look at the wash anyway, right? Because I don't want it to like super pool, so. You know, so we gotta, might as well anyway, right? Because we're here. But yeah, these abomination dudes, I think they're from a faction called Cryx. I think. Wow, why are we so blurry there? Come on. Come on. There we go. That's better. Why were you focusing on that dumb thing? Yeah, I think those are from a faction called Cryx. Or some kind of like necromancer abomination guys. They seem to like have a whole lot of these kind of like body horror zombie things, which is pretty cool. That's always a design aesthetic I like, you know what I mean? They've got a couple cool factions, to be honest. They've got one that's like, I don't know, like pirates and like sea monsters. That's pretty cool. And there's some kind of like orcs or something. They've got one that's like serpents, like robot serpents. That's pretty neat. And there's a couple different flavors of human. There's like Russians and then what looks like the British kind of thing. So they've got some variation, which is pretty cool. All right, so we're gonna let him dry a little bit, and then we're gonna come back and probably do a little bit more volumetric painting on him. In the meantime, because we're only gonna need a little bit of meantime, we'll start blocking in some color on my actual guy. So yeah, so this is like the big model from the I want to keep calling it a starter set, but it's not a starter set. It's a welcome box, which is like what they give you when you first sign up for a 3D printing service. And yeah, you get like, there's 3 abomination guys I showed. You get this bigger abomination guy, and then you get 3 different like mad scientist guys. One of which I printed out. The other 2 I have not printed out. I couldn't really fit all of them on the print bed. I have an Elegoo Saturn, and I was trying not to like, I don't know, over jam it too much. I feel like when I do have print errors, it's because the bed is like crooked or unleveled or something. And that seems to primarily happen when, you know, there's too much suction to the plate, because the like weight on the plate is like, it's like super uneven, right? A little bit uneven, I have no trouble with it, but like when it's super uneven, it seems to have problems with errors and stuff. So I didn't want to like super jam everything on there. I probably could have fit everything in the welcome box on one plate, but I decided not to. I also wanted to try out their supports, and their supports are kind of big. Not like big as in they use a lot of resin, but like voluminous, I guess, on the plate. Just because I wanted to see how their supports were. And they were great. Really, really wonderful. Now there's a bunch of... In this first month that's free, there's a bunch of like terrain pieces, including some really cool kind of like messed up trees that are really neat. Like kind of like spooky evil trees. I got a like an old kind of World of Warcraft undead feeling from these guys. Just kind of what led to my color scheme. And then I just needed some more colors, and I was like, oh, I'll grab the same kind of colors I used in the Drukhari, and that's how we got here. But yeah, these guys really gave me that kind of like, around the time of Cataclysm, they redid some of the designs of the undead in World of Warcraft, and they were really cool. Like the building designs, and they added a bunch of like character models and stuff. Really cool stuff. Lots of like, it was kind of like pseudo Victorian, like kind of steampunk, kind of like Magitech, but also kind of like dark horror. It was good stuff. They did a really good job on those redesigns. So when I saw these guys, I kind of got that feeling from them. So I immediately was like, okay, I want a dark color, either some kind of black or like a purple or something, like a dark but rich color. And then I was like, I want a yellow, kind of greenish, right? But not like a neon green, kind of more of like a sickly kind of green color. That's sort of how I put these together. And then the blue for like the loincloths and stuff, that just that honestly just evolved from the Drukhari. And because I think I have this weird thing for purple and teal when they're together, because I've done that color scheme a lot. Like some of the oozes that I painted on the channel and stuff, they are that same color scheme. But yeah, if it wasn't obvious, since I haven't actually talked about it yet, Warmachine, along with their first month free on myminifactory, they are doing a painting competition. And all the details are up on the myminifactory website if you want to go check them out. But it's like 4 different categories, and one of them is like diorama, one of them is individual figure, and then it is 3D printed or not 3D printed. So obviously I'll be going into the 3D printed category. But it should just be a little bit of fun. And I haven't done a painting competition in a while. To be honest, besides streaming, I haven't really done a whole lot of social media stuff. I kind of stopped posting on Instagram and all. All the social media stuff was just kind of, I don't know, little soul crushing. So I decided to take a little break from it. But, you know, honestly, I kind of want to get back into sharing myself. No, I meant like my stuff. Right, like the things that I make and all. So, I thought this competition might be a good way to kind of get that ball going in my brain again, you know, for kind of painting that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. Competitions are kind of strange, right? Like, for me, they're pretty motivating. Like, I want to paint and do well, but at the same time, I want to have fun doing it, right? Like, the goal of winning is kind of not my ever intent with like any kind of competition like that. even though, you know, obviously everyone would like to win, right? Like, but there's a value in using it to kind of like push yourself forward regardless of how well, quote unquote, you do in the competition, right? There's some value in using it to be like, you know, oh, can I learn this new technique? Can I try this new painting method out, right? That kind of thing. Can I do a color scheme I've never done before? Something like that. You know, there's honestly probably a lot more value of that kind of stuff in a painting competition for the average person. I'm trying to get a trophy or whatever. All right. I gotta move over there because it's driving me bonkers where it is. All right, so we're gonna go back and we're gonna do some little painting on the other guy's skin who had the washes on him. So I'll move this guy off the camera for now. I'm just gonna break out that Kraken Lavender as our base skin tone. And if you wanted to see this versus a white, just so like you see the difference in it, right? Like this is so much purpler than like a white and gray like this orc here. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm just gonna get my brush a little extra wet, and then I'm just gonna take a tiny bit, and what we're gonna come in and do is we're just gonna kind of block in some of the big areas. And by big areas, I mean areas that are kind of like lifted in some way. So like not the crevices essentially, right? And this should add some volume to his pieces. And it should make the model be a little more dynamic to look at as well. Now, I like doing this kind of painting. I think, like, obviously I'm not like a master at it or whatever, but like I enjoy a little bit of volumetric painting from now and then. I don't think everything needs it, but I do think that in some areas it can look really cool and add a lot of character. It's kind of like, I don't know, a big highlight almost, you know, if you think about it like that. Because the wash kind of, doing this after a wash, it kind of gives you almost a template for it. Because you can kind of see where the wash did and didn't pool kind of thing. And you kind of want to paint the areas that didn't really pool in. And sort of the goal here. Oh, interesting. I screwed up. The back of this arm is actually metal. Okay. We will fix that then. We will have to fix that. Now, obviously, that's not even going to show up in the painting competition. So do I really need to fix that? Probably not. Do I want to? Yes. Yes, I do. Because I will know that that's not painted. Even if anyone looking at the pictures does not. But yeah, I'm basically just going back and kind of lightly painting over the areas where the wash didn't pool. His armor is going to need something too because it's kind of dark. We're losing some detail in there. But we got to paint the cake first. But yeah, if you've never done this kind of like little kind of detail, kind of volumetric painting, it's very fun. Because honestly, like, because it's not something I do in all my models, I am happy to basically have any of it. Because I do think it pretty handily improves the model. So even if I like screw up or something, I still am quite happy with it. You know what I mean? Like there's not a perfectionist piece to this, in my opinion. It's just kind of like having fun with it, you know. And it's a nice way for me to also go back and clean up some of the smears from the washes. Because the washes they can smear a little bit, you know. Oh man, I can't believe I screwed that up. Oh well. You can always fix it. That's one of the joys of painting, is that it is always fixable. Right? No matter how out of control things get, you can always go back and retake some of that, you know, and produce something cool with it. All right. Well, we got to break the purple out, so we might as well do some similar kind of painting on the purple. Plus some of the... oh, wow. I missed that whole section there of wash. Let's fix that. Here on this tube, I totally missed that. Oh, it's a good thing I still have a little bit of wash left, given that I missed that whole purple section. Yeah, the back of this arm is actually armor. I did not realize. I thought it was skin. I mean, honestly, it's better that it's skin. That makes it way easier to paint. I mean, it's better that it's armor. So his robot arms are kind of more like glove shaped than I realized. Okay, so I'm going to go through and kind of do the same thing we just did. I honestly don't know if you're going to be able to see it. I'm wondering if we should actually grab a slightly different purple. Or maybe actually dry brush the whole thing with like silver. We'll see. We'll see. We'll try doing some of it and see how it comes out. Yeah, unless you're on really good lights, I don't think you're gonna see that. Okay, so let's figure out a way to do that. We could mix a little bit of the white, the kind of the pink color into our purple. and try to do a little bit of highlight like that. Let me see if I can do that a little bit. At least for the face. Interesting, okay. Now that the wash is drying, I'm seeing quite a few little areas that I missed. Okay, well, we can fix all of those. Interesting. Man, this guy had a bunch of detail on him. I did not realize how much he had, though, to be honest. Okay. So we want to brighten that face up a little bit more, maybe. And take some more. And see. We'll see how this dries. It might be too much. We'll see how it dries. Yeah, that's really bright. We'll see how it dries and we'll go from there. Okay, so we gotta fix some areas that I missed. Looks like a couple of them are actually silver areas. I'm gonna go ahead and pull some silver out. So this is just chainmail from Game Color. Some game companies use chainmail to mean like really bright silver, but this is much more of like a kind of pseudo gunmetal. And then actually his like elbow is like a robot joint. Yeah, that's gonna be way too bright on his face there. And it looks like I missed some of his straps on his leg too. Interesting. Alright. Just doing a look around, see if there's anything else I missed. Doesn't look like it. Looks like there's a couple of things are kind of it. Okay. Well, let's fix that crazy mistake on the face with the way too bright a paint there, and then I'll fix this chip that I hit there as well, and then we'll just lightly coat over this, and maybe it'll help lift this up a little bit. Yeah, you know, honestly, I'm pretty happy with that then. It's a little bit brighter, but not crazily so. Yeah, honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty cool. Okay. Let's see. We could paint some highlights on the cloth. I think we probably should. At least one or two. A couple little things, sort of. Before we do that, I gotta fix my belt because it is dragging into my belly something bad. Ugh. There we go. All right. So same deal with the cloth. So I noticed an edge that I missed here, so I'm going to fix that while I'm here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of paint over the sort of like raised areas of the cloth. And this is just the same color we used pre-wash. Alright, so it'll just give it some more kind of definition and a more little bit of look. The wash did a lot of definition and stuff already for us, but you know, it'll just add a little more style to it. But yeah, I'm a giant fan of blue and purple, and I don't know why. It's just one of those color schemes that was like, yeah, that's great, you know? Alright, I'll set him to the side for a sec. I'm going to use a little bit of blue, because this guy only has a little bit of blue area. So I'm just going to block it in now while I'm here. I think this guy is the one I'll put in the competition. Just because I feel like the model's got more, I don't know, pizzazz, I guess, than a regular trooper. It's got more oomph, I guess, you know. And I'm going to be super honest, I actually like the regular troopers better than this guy. Not because this guy's bad or anything, but I think the regular troopers are actually just really fucking dope models. I think that's why in my brain I was like, oh, I'll use some of the Drakari color scheme, because these are going to become the abominants or whatever for Drakari, like instantly. I think they're amazing for that. How does the detail here work? Let's see. He's got his belt. Okay, I see. That is a trick for 3D printed minis. If you're ever having trouble seeing the details, because sometimes when you 3D print something, the details can be really, really like intricate and stuff. If you want to be able to see it better, hit it with a wash. Like just like a black wash. Doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be well done, but it will give you the it'll give you a nice kind of look at the details that you probably might have trouble seeing otherwise. Right? You could actually see that happen here while I was painting with this guy, because that's how I found new details and stuff on him. It was from that wash. Okay. Now I want to pull out some electric lime. Now, I specifically did not want to use a neon yellow kind of green when I started working on this guy's for all of his greens. I kind of wanted more of a rich kind of sickly cool green. But I think for the edges of the weapons, this will be really cool. And I think it'll add a little bit to the weapons. Give them a little kind of like bit of evil kind of definition, you know? Because these guys, like, I don't know the story of Warmachine. I hear it's quite good, but I don't know it. But these guys definitely, They reek of evil. I'll put it that way. Because they're all like zombies and undead and stuff, you know. There's like a pirates faction that very much feels like orcs from 40k, and there's I don't know, some kind of like sci-fi dragon faction, which I don't really know if there's an equivalent to. Maybe Necrons? I don't know. I mean, I'm a big fan when games have kind of abnormal factions and stuff. It's one of the reasons I really enjoy Conquest. You know, I have like, oh god, I'm not even on the camera. God, look at me go. Fail. But yeah, it's one of the reasons I really like Conquest. You know, things like the Spires or the Sultanate, stuff like that. It's really cool stuff. But yeah, just want to do a little edge just on the weapons because I think it'll make them stand out a little and look kind of cool. And then we got some more details to do this time in black. So this is, oh wait, no, this is the wrong one. We don't want to use this one. Actually, we can use this one. It's close enough. No, we don't want to use that one. Wait, is that the one I grabbed? I don't think so. That looks like Payne's Gray to me. Hold on. I'm fairly certain the black I used here is Payne's Gray from Pro Acryl versus their dark neutral gray, which is a color I love, but I'm pretty sure I use Payne's Gray. So, alright. So let's see, we screwed this up, so I gotta paint that in. I missed some wrappings there. I thought it was part of the knee, and it is not. So, gotta paint that in. And then let's see, we've got gray and or this kind of blackish gray in a couple other areas, but what I really want to do is I want to hit these stitches, which honestly I should probably do in a dry brushy method, because I'll probably get better results than trying to do it by hand. But YOLO. Go, and then he's got some here down on his leg as well. Yeah, I liked the idea that inside the stitches was all green as well. So there we go. That should do that. Can hit this little edge a little bit more and clean that up. And yeah. I think it would be very tempting and easy to paint these guys like they were gross, right? Like with like stained bandages and like rusty metal and stuff. I think would be very easy. But honestly, I think they're a lot more interesting looking. Like this, where they've got some like kind of crazy color and design and stuff to them. I think that's much more interesting looking. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how he turned out. We lost some of the depth of the face. I could try to get a little bit in his eyes of the neon green. Let's try that, actually. We'll give that a go. To try to get the eyes to pop out a little bit more. So that way the eyes don't blend in so much with everything else. Yeah, I do think that helps. Look at that. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I think he looks pretty dope. That's pretty sweet. Alright, so I still got some time, so I guess let's work on another one, I guess. We'll work on the big guy. I kind of want to work on another one. They're really neat. Like this guy's eye would be really cool in the neon. Right, this like big kind of mono eye thing he's got. Be really neat. Anyway, yeah, we'll just work on some more little ones. But yeah, I think you could very easily like dirty these guys up and they could look cool, like cover their armor and stuff in rust. But I do think some kind of bright, crazy colors kind of are more fun for them. But obviously, like if there's any specific way you want to paint your models, paint them that way, right? Because that's what it's about. Different people have different tastes on that stuff, you know. And to be honest, my tastes vary, God, every day. That's why I'm always painting different things, right? Like next to me is a whole bunch of Gene Stealer calls I've been working on, you know. And today I'm painting these guys. I've got some Battletech minis to paint up. Kind of in the mood of painting some robots. So looking forward to that. Yeah, just enjoying all this kind of different stuff. You know, it's not just always painting one kind of space marine or whatever, right? Like, kind of variety is it adds a lot of spice, you know? Trying something new, checking something new out, you know? I know some people like go hard into one war game. And part of me kind of wants to do that, right? Like just being like, I forever now only play this game or whatever. You know, like I don't look at other stuff. I just play this one game. Part of me wants to do that because you could make a lot of really cool stuff for that one game, right? Like I think I would, if I had to 100% do that, God, I think I'd be tempted either to do Battletech or Dead Man's Hand. It's the cowboy. I really like doing all the cowboy terrain and stuff, and I feel like that's a kind of. It's funny because I don't really like cowboy media, but I think as like a horror kind of like monster setting, it's really cool. And I feel like there's a lot of cool potential there. You know, like having aliens and zombies and horrors from the deep. And, you know, I think that's kind of neat. But, you know, I do all kinds of stuff, and it kind of makes it, you know, really likes this Pro Aqua bottle. Let's move that. You know, it makes it interesting, right? Having some variety there. Some different flavors, you know? Oh man, speaking of different flavors, Malona bars make a pistachio Malona bar. If you don't know what a Malona bar is, it's a ice cream bar. They're very popular in Asia. They are very popular in Hawaii as well. So, and they're popular for good reason because they're fucking great. But they make a Malona bar that is pistachio flavored now, and that sounds really gross, but it is phenomenal. It is so good. Like, I was blown away by how good it was, to be honest. This guy, he's got a really like kind of weird Mad Max BDSM look to him. I think it's his helmet that does it and the weird tube coming out of it. But it's pretty cool. It's a cool flavor that these models have for sure. They are like BDSM body horror undead, which is always a cool combo. And I think YI is instantly like, yep, I'm gonna put those in my Drukhari army when I saw them. Which is one of the reasons why these guys are just on 3D printed bases, because I'm pretty sure they came with bases, or the welcome pack came with some bases, something like that. But to be honest, I kind of want all their bases to match so I can throw them in other games too. So I just 3D printed myself up some of the like GW style bases. And I like those a lot. They're really my favorite based kind. So let's take a little look at this guy beforehand. So let's see. He's got some kind of like robot head cover, but his brain is like sticking out the back. Part of me would be tempted to paint him in a medical white. Like white gown and like maybe blue gloves or something like that. But he also kind of has like an evil necromancer vibe. So I think we're going to keep the same color scheme going for him. And just change it up a tiny bit. Right, because he also does have more cloth. And what I'm thinking is that regular cloth on these guys is going to be black. And then kind of like fancy cloth, like loincloths and banners and stuff, that's going to be the blue. Alright, so like the lower part of his cloth here is going to be black, but then like, and like I'm going to do his sleeves in black, I think. And then, but like his tabard that he has here, we'll do that in blue. I also think that'll help carry the colors in the model around a little bit. But yeah, I'm just painting a little extra because I've got some extra paints at the moment out. So I was like, okay, we'll just paint a little extra. Might as well use them up, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's 3 different of this guy. That's incorrect. There's 3 different like robot amalgamation boss guys in the welcome pack. This is just one of them. One of them I think is a much more like kind of bigger guy. I think this one might be the smallest of them. Also in that pack are a bunch of parts for a cryx warjack, but sadly no body for it, which is a shame because I would have loved to have painted a cryx warjack. But all kinds of different weapons and stuff. Warjacks are like the I don't know, they're kind of like big robot things in this world. So yeah, they're like driven by magic or something, and they're like these big robot clunky smashy things. They're pretty cool. Not all the factions seem to have warjacks. Some of them have monsters, but I know these guys have a warjack because I have parts for it now. But like earlier when I mentioned there's like a water faction that's like, I don't know, like orcs, pirates kind of, which is pretty dope. They don't really have warjacks. They have all these like big sea creatures and stuff, which are really cool. Like one of them, it comes in the starter set, is like a guy, and he has like a fish for a weapon, in one of his hands, but he's like a big, I don't know, shark man. It's pretty cool stuff. Definitely neat, and it really, it's gonna sound kind of weird. It kind of has like a old Blizzard vibe to a lot of the art and stuff, which I kind of dig. I think sometimes that is unfortunately lost. Like that style, I feel like it's lost, and it's a cool style, and a lot of the stuff for Warmachine kind of has that feeling to me. Also, what it really reminds me of is a game called Wayfinder, which me and my husband actually played the living shit out of in both of its versions, because it had Wayfinder had two equivalents. It had like an MMO version and then like a desktop version. When the MMO version was going to shut down, they made it so you could still play it. Yeah, me and my husband played the living shit out of that. Really, really fun game. But this stuff, the Warmachine stuff, really kind of reminds me of Wayfinder. Alright, our buddy has had enough time. Good day, my man. What paints do you use, or are your favorite? So this guy, which is the guy I've kind of been working on here, he's just kind of drying right now. He's done with some Army Painter. He's done with a little bit of Vallejo and a little bit of Pro Acryl as well. So, my favorite paints right now are probably Army Painter. These new Warpaint Fanatics are just phenomenal, and you can get them in all kinds of crazy colors, which is really neat. So like his skin is this Kraken lavender here. He has parts in this true copper that are really nice. You can kind of see them shining there. Little edges of his swords are electric lime. Pretty cool. I really like those a lot. For kind of very specific colors, I like Vallejo, as they have some really unique kind of colors that I can't find in other paint ranges, which is really cool. So like kind of like this weird kind of green here, like I can't find this same green in Army Painter. So that's pretty cool. I like those. I like the Vallejo paints because of their unique paints. And Pro Acryl I really like for their coverage. I think they have the best paint consistency. Like overall, like when you apply it, like even like straight out of the bottle, I think it is probably the best paint consistency in my opinion. And I really like the fact that they have a lot of like base tones, if that makes sense. Like they have some other weird colors too, but they have some really basic tones that I feel like other paint ranges don't have. So like this Payne's gray here is like a blue gray, and neither of the other two paint ranges I showed have this color or anything like it. But yeah, my favorite would be Army Painter Speed Paints. Or not Speed Paints, Army Painter Fanatics. They're really, really nice. I dig this paint scheme. How is the Pro Acryl? Army Painter Zoo Fanatic lines are also my favorite, hands down. Yeah, I like them a lot. They're fantastic. Pro Acryl is very good. They are... Okay, so out here in Hawaii, they're like a new paint range. One store started selling them, Armchair Adventure, and then a second store just started selling them, just literally maybe a month ago. So I feel like they are very much a new paint range out here. And I feel like their color, like the depth of their colors isn't as deep because they don't have as many paints. But the paints they do have, I feel like are really good basic tones that I use all the time. This one, for example, is Easily my favorite black paint, and it's actually a gray paint, but it goes on very dark. It is easily my favorite black paint. They have my favorite white paint, which is bold titanium white. They have a paint called warm gray, which I think is just really cool as a base coat. Yeah, it's good stuff. I like them a lot. They also have warm brown, which I think, I'm going to be honest, has done the boots and like belts and stuff on probably like half my armies. It's just really good. So like, let's see. This guy's probably got some on him. No, I think he's mocha skin. Hold on, let me find one. Somebody's got to be wearing a belt, right? Okay, yeah. So like this rat ogre here, he's got this belt on. That's the warm brown color. Really great color. Really, really fantastic. Yeah, and his fur is that dark neutral gray that I mentioned. You can see how dark that actually comes out, and it's really good. Like it's black enough to be dark, but it's still light enough that you can see details. So it's pretty cool. I like that one quite a bit. The one problem I have with a lot of paint ranges though is oranges, and I have not found a good orange. Yeah, it's practically black. It's really good. So this is Proacro Orange. A lot of these colors, they look fantastic, right? Molten Lava. This is German Orange. We'll talk about that one in a minute. Lava Orange. Beautiful colors across 3 different ranges, right? Because this one's a Vallejo paint. It's just part of their model color line. This one is Sunset Orange. Beautiful, beautiful colors, right? They all cover like shit. Every single one of these covers like shit, and it's terrible. And I have probably twice the number of orange paints that are really trying to find one that covers good. The only orange paint I've ever found that covers good is the Scale 75. But the local store that sells Scale 75 is like getting out of the business of scaling Scale 75, so that really sucks. But the reason I mention it is that I literally just bought like several of these yesterday trying to find an orange paint that would work well. And all the ranges I just mentioned, they don't have a good orange paint, and it's a real shame. They cover like shit. But I mean, they also have a purple that I've been using, which is the purple here, which is Diabolic Plum, and this is easily my favorite purple color now. So anyway, that was my little rant on orange paint because I've been gone to several stores recently to find orange paint. But yeah, so this is, ordered a few Fnatic paints just this afternoon. Molten Lava on the purple you mentioned earlier. Yeah, the Kraken Lavender. Oh god, I love this color. It's so good. This one's good. This one is easily my favorite purple of all time. The Molten Lava is a beautiful color, but it does not cover very well. So you're just going to have to do multiple coats with it. But it's a beautiful color. I mean, it did these guys. It did my Drukhari. Come on. Come on. Yeah. So it's a really cool, really cool color. It just doesn't cover very well. But yeah, that's the Molten Lava. This has a purple wash over top of it, but it has the dark skin tone wash I was using earlier in the stream. So yeah, so cool color. I just wish it covered a little better. But well, I think my dude is basically ready for basing and then top coat. So I'm probably gonna call it there because I've been streaming. Yeah, it looks cool, doesn't it? I like it a lot. I like the Kraken color a lot, or the Molten Lava color a lot. It just covers like shit. But yeah, I'm probably gonna call it there and go try to dig up some lunch with my husband. See if we can get something good. But this is pretty much a guy would be content to enter this guy as he stands, right? He could use some more highlights and stuff, but I think I'm pretty happy with where he's at. So he's gonna get based up, and you know, honestly, I might enter him, or I might paint up the whole set, because I'm gonna paint them up anyway, because they're just fucking cool miniatures, man. Like, how cool is that guy? Like, he's awesome, you know? Really cool. This guy is easily my favorite out of the welcome pack. He's really cool. This guy's pretty cool too with his weird BDSM hood. But I'm gonna go ahead and call it there. Go grab me some lunch. Thank you guys for watching, and I will be putting these guys up with my mini factory once the whole set is done. I'll figure out which one I want to enter in the competition. But until then, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. I hope you enjoy your Fnatic paints that you just ordered.